Panther people, what up? What's going on? You're watching Panthers Post with Phil Perkins. Thanks for joining. And if you're new here, make sure to pound and keep pounding that subscribe button. Make sure to like, enter your feelings. And there's a lot of feelings in the comic community. It's a beautiful place to be. And if you are not new here, thanks for your support. Over 1,600 subscribers. We've been rocking this thing since April. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the feedback, good and bad. Mainly good, though. I mean, it's like 100% approval, not going to lie. If I was president, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Or in my case, prime minister, feeling pretty nice. But thank you so much for everything you guys are doing. And let's get right to it. Bye week, maybe for the players, it is definitely not a resting day for the reporters, both in Charlotte, the national reporters, also us vloggers out here in the YouTube sphere. Man, it has been pretty busy. And if we're in a heavyweight fight right now, the hits just keep on coming for the Carolina Panthers in a bad way. Let's start with the biggest one in terms of the earliest, because they hit us real quick with this. Christian McCaffrey, CMC, Mr. Glass, I don't know what you want to call him. He's definitely not made of diamonds right now. Out for the season. Season-ending IR. If you're on IR for one time in the year, if you're on IR again in the same year, you're out for the year. Kaput. Done. That means, and tell me if you've had this already told to you a million times already, Christian McCaffrey, after signing that gigantic deal, which he deserves in his rookie years and then some, the 1,000 year, he has only played 10 games out of a possible 33 in the Matt Rule era. We're going to talk about that era where that's coming to an end. But Christian McCaffrey, let me know how you feel. I'm feeling bummed out, super bummed out. We were chronicling his off-season workouts, trying to get back into shape. He was doing everything from gymnastics to animal workouts, animal movements. He was swimming. He was doing track stuff, heavy weight training, all that stuff. And we know ever since his rookie year, he has taken care of his body, sleeping 9 hours a day. He's got the hyperbaric chamber. He has his own personal chef, everything. And it's just a bummer that he gets knocked out for the season over something that completely not under his control. He tweaked his ankle. To be honest, when I saw it, and I mentioned this in the post-game vlog after they lost a beatdown in South Beach, that it didn't really look like that bad of an ankle injury. Saquon Barkley's ankle injury looked way worse, but whatever it was, he's done for the year. And I literally just bought his jersey. And I don't know if I'm ever going to wear this again at a home game or an away game where Christian McCaffrey's on the team. There are people out there suggesting that the Panthers should trade his ass. You know, you could get as many assets as you can. You can tell potential teams that it's not that bad of an ankle injury. They just wanted to prevent him from either hurting himself even further in a season that looks like it could be lost. Still 5 more weeks to go, not including the bye. So you never know what's going to happen. It's the NFL, man. Who the heck knows? The Giants are winning games, for God's sakes. Or were they saving Christian and his ankle and his body to make him an attractive trade asset? Because as we all know, Panthers have 1 pick in the first 3 rounds of the 2022 NFL draft. And if this is a team that is still rebuilding, which we all think it is, the best way to build it, the cheapest way to build it, is through the draft. And right now, they have a top 10 pick if the season would end right now. And after that, no second round, no third round. That second went to the Jets for Sam Darnold. We're not going to say his name again. And the third went to Jacksonville for C.J. Henderson, who's about to get a step up. Just wild to think that from his history, injury history, and drama with the team, out of my 3 jerseys, Christian McCaffrey, Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly, that Cam Newton is going to be the one that's still dressing for the Carolina Panthers in 2022. Absolutely wild. Sticking with injury news, Dante Jackson also on the IR, suffering what I think is a groin injury that could explain his last 2 games or so that he has just not been playing well. I mentioned in the video before, it seems like he's always been a step behind in the last couple of games. Could that have been the reason why? Maybe not have been immediately the groin. Could have been a foot thing that eventually translated up to his groin. Who knows? But, you know, another season for Dante Jackson. Action Jackson, not in action. He's just number 26 now on the IR. The 2 years in a row now that his season's cut short due to injury. And this in a contract year, and it doesn't look great. You know, 2 bad games in a row. Is it due to injury? We'll find out. But then he's out for the year with that injury. I don't know what this means for the team. You know, the depth in the DB room, we've talked about it before. You know, you got C.J. Henderson, who they picked up in that trade with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You got A.J. Bouye. You got Stephon Gilmore, who could be getting healthier and hopefully being put in the right situation to succeed. You got A.J. Bouye, Keith Taylor, who I thought was just coming out in the first half or the second half of the first half of the year. And all these guys are longer, athletic dudes who have all the physical traits that Matt Rule and Scott Fitterer have been looking for, especially Fitterer coming from Seattle and the Legion of Boom. They didn't have a lot of short corners. They had some long corners like Richard Sherman and all that stuff. So Dante physically doesn't meet what they want. He definitely matches what they want in terms of their brand, in terms of hustle, in terms of how well he has been making up that lack of dimensions that he is physically with his effort. I thought he was playing absolutely lights out, potentially a Pro Bowler in the first half of the year, but he had that little bit of a dip. Whether it's due to injury, we'll find out, but he's out for the year. And we're going to talk about this on the weekend episode. You're going to hear it. I'm going to let you know by the end of this episode what we got going on during this bye week edition. But, in a contract year, and you got guys like Hassan Reddick, Frankie Louvu, DJ Moore, all guys potentially that you want to pay out. Is Dante Jackson the guy you let walk? Because you also have J.C. Horn on the mend, and according to Joe Person and other beat reporters out there, J.C. Horn out in a red jersey. He's not doing tackling or anything like that, but he's healing. He's getting better. He's a young guy. He's bouncing back. And so again, comment community, let me know. Dante Jackson, you just let him walk. He doesn't naturally fit the profile that the team wants in their defensive back room. 2 years now in a row that his season has been cut short due to injury. Do you keep him? Or do you give other guys like Keith Taylor, who I'm personally very excited for, to see what he get to do against Atlanta next week at Bank of America Stadium? See what C.J. Henderson's doing as well. He's made some promising plays. A.J. Bouye was a guy I thought that the Panthers might want to let go of, but maybe good thing they didn't, because they got the depth now to make up for A.J. Bouye, for Dante Jackson, who may have seen his last game as a Carolina Panther. And speaking of available, according to multiple reports from the state of Oklahoma, Matt Rule, head coach of the Carolina Panthers, Joe Brady, ever heard of him? It appears, according to beat reporters for the Oklahoma Sooners, that they are amongst, I think it's like the top 5 candidates to take over the Sooners job after Lincoln Riley bounced to go to USC. And there's a lot of noise. Even Joe Person said that Matt Rule is always going to get offers, especially in college jobs, after what he did at Temple and in Baylor. And, it's up to him if he wants to bounce. But he feels like Joe Person, and I've heard in other reports as well, that Matt Rule wants to see this out. He does want to build a winning program. We all know. He's got a hell of an ego. And he definitely believes in himself, whether he makes mistakes or not. He believes in himself. He believes in the process. But Joe Person says that he doesn't foresee him leaving. Personally, I don't see it either. I think that you give him the 3 years, or he thinks he's going to get the 3 years, try to build something. If they get 7 wins, whether it's against the Atlanta Falcons at the Bank of America Stadium, and then at the Superdome against New Orleans Saints with Trevor Siemian, or whoever else is going to be their quarterback at the time, you've now surpassed. You have shown progress on paper, that you're better than you were last year in a lockout year. In terms of lockout, I mean the public, not players. I feel like if Matt Rule shows a little bit of progress there, if they somehow show something, an ounce of something, some trust in the game plan, whatever it is, because as I said in the last video, as the number 1 most penalized team in the league, I'm wondering if a lot of those penalties are just players freelancing because they don't necessarily trust what they're being told what to do, because it just hasn't worked, according to them. And so that's why they're acting out, whether it's unsportsmanlike conduct, going offside, or just blowing assignments. It might not even be penalties, but just blowing assignments because they don't believe or trust what they're being told to do, either defensively or offensively. Somehow, if they play against these games, these pride games, against Carolina North, against the Buffalo Bills, whether it's against divisional opponents, guys you see twice a year, or in the case of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, twice in 3 weeks, you don't want to act like a chump. You don't want to look like a pushover against a divisional opponent. If somehow the energy starts flowing through the team, they look like they've been galvanized in the last 4 games of the year, I mean, that could be a reason why Matt Rule would be told, hey, you can stay. I've already paid you for 10 years. You've done 2. It's been rocky. It's been weird. Injuries galore. Not that that really should be an excuse, but the team showed like they're playing for you, because the last 2 games, defensive side against Washington football team, and then the whole freaking team against Miami Dolphins, it just didn't look like they were playing for the coach. But if the energy and the enthusiasm shows up the last couple of games of the year, maybe Trevor believes that, hey, maybe Matt Rule's finally gotten to them. Who knows? Joe Brady, I could totally see Joe Brady getting gas between now and that Atlanta Falcons game at Bank of America Stadium, just because something has to change. The offense just doesn't seem to be adjusting, whether it's play-by-play or whether it's during halftime. It seems like they're still trying to do the same thing over and over again. People are talking about that play I mentioned in the last video, that running back option pass between Amir Abdullah and Chuba Hubbard. What the hell was that on 3rd and 1 with Cam Newton, 6'6", 260? What's going on? In college football, You got signing day, you got recruiting. The earlier, the better. If they can nab in a head coach, whether it is Joe Brady, who I think the luster is completely gone right now in terms of him being a head coach, at least in the NFL level. But if they want to pick up Matt Rule, I've read reports that they would pay the Panthers the remaining salary, $28 million for the rest of his time with the Panthers, so that's off the books. Not that it hurts the cap or anything like that, but you want to get your head coach in as soon as possible in the NCAA because you want to start recruiting. I'm not going to lie. When they picked up Matt Rule, I was bit by the bug. I mentioned this last episode again. Definitely check that episode out. A lot of emotion, a lot of talking about my feelings and that. Also a lot of yours in the comic community. He's a motivational guy. He's a galvanizing guy for a regular Joe like me, but is he that? For professional players who are in their 30s and have kids and a mortgage and other issues off the field as well? Like, does he motivate people like that? I don't know. And, I do believe in program building. I appreciate what he says. As I mentioned in previous episodes, he kind of gives you that used car salesman vibe. He kind of tells you what you want to hear. I don't know what he's like behind the scenes. Teddy Bridgewater seems to tell us that they don't do 2-minute drills. I don't know what it's like behind. If they were to gas Matt Rule and they bring in a coach with NFL experience, it'd be interesting to hear what players have to say the difference has been in practice, both in summer training camp and also during the season. And that's the other thing. If they gas Matt Rule now, in the last couple games of the season, him and his entire staff, maybe keep Phil Snow because the defense has been a bright spot for the team. Who do you bring in? I'm seeing people talk about Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator with the Kansas City Chiefs. He hasn't got a head coaching job yet. Is that the system? Is that the failed Rooney Rule? Is that the old boys club that's keeping him out? Or is there something actually going on with this guy that people just don't feel that he could be a good leader? I don't know. Let me know. Is there an NFL caliber coach? As in, is an offensive coordinator right now, a special teams coach like Harbaugh is right now, the Baltimore Ravens. That's how we started, special teams. And apparently they make great head coaches because you got to coach everybody. You don't just have to coach defense. You coach everybody on the team because offensive and defensive players play on special teams. I mean, no, this is all assuming that Cam Newton is given an opportunity to start again into the 2022-2023 year and then maybe draft a rookie quarterback, which has been my formula for the last couple weeks now. Offensive line in the first round. You get some picks somehow, whether it's trading Christian McCaffrey or whatever, or trading down in the first round from a top 10 to maybe a bit lower in a deep-ish left tackle draft. Pick up a tackle in the first round. In the second round, maybe a quarterback that slides. Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett seems to be a first-round guy right now, but a project. Malik Willis, maybe in the second round if that's even possible. And then what offensive coordinator would you trust to mold both the new offense with Cam Newton, who will be a Grizzly vet by that point, and a new quarterback to make a QB-friendly situation? This Sunday, no game, obviously. We still got an episode, though, because I got to deliver for y'all. I love you all. So I have a beat reporter for the Carolina Panthers. You'll see him on Sunday. It's going to be super fun. We talk about, Cam Newton's future with the team. Who you want to see go? Who do you want to see the Panthers pay, who are currently free agents right now? And just the future of the team, the process, and where he sees the team going in the next couple of seasons. All right, so looking forward to that. I appreciate you on this abbreviated midweek Panthers Post vlog. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share. I appreciate you. See you on Sunday.